a lot of people have heard about it, is the death of my son and my brother. And this has done something to me that I've never felt in my life. I've never ever been through this challenge. You know what I mean by challenge? The feelings and the thought process and the amount of reflection on life like now. It really makes you understand the word inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Suddenly, nothing around you is worth stressing too much about, or spending too much time about it. Everything around you now, you look at a way of how to turn it into something beneficial for others, for yourself, and for the hereafter. And the money didn't mean much after that. My brother was. It's the first time I talk now about Hamza about it. And
Allah bless you, man. I think
like
it's
in
important.
a bit of detail, he had a business growing for him, and I think he was going to become a millionaire in a couple of years. He was so successful, and only because of his character, people loved him.
Yeah, he's really outgoing and beautiful to get along with.
He was a very honest person. And my son, he died in front of me, my son, while I was giving him CPR. And he was very peaceful. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This word thanks has more of a meaning right now. Thank you, O Allah, for the past that you gave me. Thank you, Allah, for the past that you prevented from me, the bad things. Thank you, Allah, for giving my son and my brother and teaching me love and now connecting me to something else. Thank you, Allah, for the future that you will give me and the things that you are going to keep away from me in the future, because I know that you know that will harm me. Thank you, Allah. You've given me my son and taken him for a reason, a purpose that you only know within your wisdom, and I rely on you. It has increased my iman, of course, and people around us. Akhi Abu Hamza, 2 moments in my life, I think, I dream about them all the time now, and I don't think there's anything that's more important than them. The moment my son's soul escaped, and my brother's, and the moment I buried them. It's like death had no respect for me. Who cares if you're his father? Who are you? This is not your business. This is not your business. How I felt. It's like, don't you see I'm here? I'm his dad. He doesn't belong to you, Bilal. He belongs to Allah.
No.
And if you do trust in Allah, now's the time for you to prove it to yourself. What are you going to think about Allah right now? Allah is Arhamur Rahimin. Maybe this was the best time for them to leave. Maybe I stayed for a reason, Allahu A'lam. And the moment that they were buried, I was in the grave and I felt like bashing my head on the walls. I wanted to die with them. I looked at my son, I said, my hands, how can you put your son in the ground? How dare you? You're the father, you're supposed to be protecting him. You're supposed to, you promised him things. I promised my son, Dad, I'm not always going to be there for you, so I'm going to teach you to stand on your own 2 feet. But then I remembered Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as he was standing in the grave with his son, and I said the dua, al-aynu tadma', the eyes tear, wal-qalbu yahzan, and the heart is saddened, ala firaqika ya Ibrahim, to your departing, O Ibrahim, wa la naqulu illa ma yurdi rabbana, we'll only say what pleases our Lord. And you know what's funny, what's ironic is that I said the exact words of the Prophet ﷺ, even the name. His son's name was Ibrahim.
SubhanAllah.
And I could imagine Rasulullah ﷺ feeling what I'm feeling right now, crying the way I'm crying. And I got stronger a little bit then. I said, Ya Allah, unite us again with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then I had to walk away, Abu Hamza. You have to walk away. And there my brother and son sat there. They just lied there. They didn't know they were going to die. But before we left here, I just want to finish it with this, something really good. And that is that before we left, we went fi sabilillah. We went to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what did we want to please Him with? We had our parents, we wanted to make them happy. My mother was missing us in Lebanon, my dad. And my brother and I would talk to them for the last time before we left, and he got teary. My brother was very, very, he had this softness about him. I looked at my brother and son, I said, sure, you want to go in this ugly time? Because there's civil unrest there. My son had a big smile on his face. He said, for Jaddo and Taita, I'd do anything, Baba. Can't wait to see them, make them happy. We shook hands and we said, okay, let's make our intention right now. We're going to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because if we die there, inshallah, we die shuhada. Inshallah, ya Rabbi. We die on the path of Allah. And if we return inshallah, ya Rabbi, with a huge amount of mountains of rewards. Now, I thought we were going to die in the civil war, in civil unrest there. SubhanAllah, my son and I, we went to UK. That was my last lecture tour overseas with my son. And ironically, the UK people knew my son and my brother. They didn't know anyone else in my family. Why? Because a year before it, they paid for my brother to go with me, Muhammad. He went with me on that tour. Mufti Menka called me up that time. And I said, I want to take my brother with me. They said, all right. And then my son, they knew him when he was a child and when he grew up. And they had a love for them. All of this, Allah is setting up things. And when we got there, subhanAllah, they died in a place that I never, ever thought. We were just up there on some snowmobile. I just went and had fun. I said, my son wants to see Lebanon, he wants to see the snow. He gets up on this thing. It's meant to be safe, but I don't know. He goes around once and he's all right. I come walking towards them. I was somewhere else. And our cousin said to him, no. He goes, you can't go on again by yourself. You have to take your father or your brother or your uncle. Because my brother, he had experience on it. Knowing my brother Muhammad, subhanAllah, he'd jump and do anything, subhanAllah, for people. And I said, and then they said, either your brother or your uncle or your father. Who does he choose?
Uncle.
He chose his uncle.
SubhanAllah.
If he told me, they would have told me, go on with him, I would have gone on with him.
No.
To keep him safe. And my brother, he said, I'll go on with him.
Allah chose him before your son chose his uncle.
And, they loved each other a lot. يُبْعَثُ الْمَرْءُ مَعَ مَنْ أَحَبَّ. Person is gathered with those whom they love. They took a turn, and that's when I saw them now. They're taking off. My father was there, I was there, our cousins were there, two of them. We just saw it go off very nicely. And I had a feeling, wallahi, a voice in my head told me, they're going to smash into the wall and die.
Allah.
And then that voice went.
Allahu Akbar.
I could see it. How? And then it went. And I forgot about it. I'm happy and my son's having fun. Okay, Allah khalas. But I want him to get off. I'm not happy about it. My heart's not happy.
Uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. Like that voice, and then it went. And I see them, it's like as if the angel of death was waiting there. It's like he had a rope and just pulled them in. It wouldn't stop. The petrol throttle got stuck.
SubhanAllah.
Out of all people. They just smashed into the wall at a high speed. I could see them trying to maneuver. They couldn't get off. Very hard for me to talk about it, but my son, he passed away at the scene. I ran to him trying to... Died within 4 minutes maybe. And my brother, he survived a little bit. about an hour. He went into the ambulance with my son. And my brother's telling him, أنا لحقك عمو 5 دقايق لحقك. I'm following you عمو, I'm following you.